There we go. All right, so that's it there. Now, it's not clean. It's definitely not clean. But we've got a functioning whammy bar. We've got pickup selectors, obviously for the bridge, the middle, and the neck. They're just on off. They feel very scratchy, so I'm not 100% sure whether they're going to work or not, but we'll have a look. Truss rod, which is accessed here on the body side. I don't particularly mind the truss rod access from here. I've got another Audition guitar which is almost the same as this, but not. Of course, we've got the obligatory non-intonatable, or almost non-intonatable apart from up and down, so you can only intonate it vertically, not horizontally. We've got... Be interested to see how I can access the strings. Strings will access from the back just there. So we'll put a fresh set of strings on, or I will put a fresh set of strings on once it's all done up. Frets, remarkably good, and in remarkably good condition. Although I will be curious as to see whether any of them are unseated. They actually look... I wouldn't be surprised if this has had a refret, to be honest with you. Alright, coming up the neck, we've got the nut, which is... I mean, you could put a bass string. You could probably put a bass string in there. What is interesting, however, is that most of the guitars that I've got, most of these types of made in Japan 60s, 70s guitars have usually got a 0 fret. And this one doesn't. And I'm going to assume at the moment, until I do something about it, that I think if we have a little look up here, because we can see it's seated on something there, I'm going to assume that it's had another nut put on. Which, I don't know, probably plastic, but we'll have, we'll have a look at that. And coming up here to the tuners, which by the way tuned actually really quite nicely. We can see we've had one bushing replaced, and the other ones are the originals. Now I've actually got a couple of original bushings which I might put on, or I'll replace all of them. And then there's the top tone. There's the top tone logo, which I'm curious about, because I'm curious as to whether or not it's because I haven't seen it before, but admittedly I'm only been the last year or so kind of getting into these, so I'd be curious as to know where top tone comes from. So if anyone knows, just pop it in the comments. Alright, flipping the guitar gently, ever so gently. There's this lovely neck, and I'm really... got a couple of dings. Now looking at those machine heads, I'm curious. I'm wondering whether there's enough rust and build up on these for me to think that these are actually originals. They look pretty nasty, as in there's gunk all over them and God knows what. It's got green on it, for God's sake. Look at that. It's purest green. There you go. Oh, yuck. So I actually think these are the original tuners, which are in, for what I would consider, actually remarkably good condition. So I'll look at actually maybe not replacing those and seeing if I can actually just tidy them up a bit, clean them up and give them a re-oil and a little bit of gumption. Alright, looking at the fretboard. Well, I've had fretboards on these actually lifting, which I've had to re-glue, and this one actually looks pretty damn good. I'm honestly, I'm quite beside myself happy with the condition of this guitar, and I must admit that when I put the offer in, I didn't buy it for value. I bought it for. I just put an offer in, and I've got to be honest, I wasn't actually expecting the offer to be taken, and it got taken. So I'm very happy. So anyway, let's flip you back over again, and then we'll plug it in and see.